One issue came up, and not just this week. It's been mentioned in questions which I've largely passed over. But it came up again this week, and so I'm going to address it. The issue of reparations, and particularly in this aspect for the black people and how they suffered in the past. And that is the key to me. Suffered in the past. Most of the real people who suffered have now passed on. So how can they receive reparations? Because you're not telling me the current black people deserve to be paid reparations based on the awful suffering of their ancestors, are you? Because if so, that is not based on what suffering took place and everything to do with you monetising somebody else's suffering. It's wrong and it's poor thinking. The questions that are asked but are never answered is, who's going to pay for the reparations? From which funds? Do you expect the now deceased land and slave owners to pay for it? Or do you demand reparations from the people of your own colour, the Africans, who rounded up their fellow Africans and sold them to mainly white people? So if you think that modern day reparations are still needed to be paid, is it not the case you have to go to the original source of the problem of Africa and its own people to pay out your reparations? History has never told you the full facts. It never does. But perhaps if people of their own colour and nationality hadn't sold out their own people, maybe the issue wouldn't have arisen in the first place, or certainly wouldn't have happened on the vast scale that it did. I've said this many times in the show. We are all owed vast sums of money, or pieces of paper and bits of metal we now call currency, which is an interesting term in and of itself. Currency is the plural of current, which is an energy term. And it reminds you in subtle terms of how we are all sieving our energy, our life force away in pursuit of pieces of paper and bits of metal. And when you really grasp that thought, the methodology and the efforts behind it all, it will really seem absurd to what we're doing. Nowhere near the levels we are owed can ever be paid back to us. Ever. But Manor World Holding Trust is trying to work out a way where we all get something back. But please don't ever demand money now for the suffering of slaves from 50, 100 or 500 years ago. That is just so demeaning to those people who did suffer and shows a complete disregard for the suffering of those who went before you, no matter which colour or creed you are. Monetising suffering of your ancestors. Please.